Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm truly sorry for not being with you in Grenada for this important and interesting meeting. It so happens that being Assistant Director General in FAO carries with it duties beyond just running a technical department, and these responsibilities keep me in Rome this week. I hope you will all understand. Allow me to thank our hosts in Grenada for their hospitality, as well as the Netherlands for their support to the Blue Growth work, and recognize both Ambassador Angus Friday and Director General Hans Hoogerveen in so doing. The importance of the ocean environment, fisheries and aquaculture cannot be overstated. It is therefore a delight to witness the great interest that these issues that we all hold dear are getting at the present time. Basically, everywhere you look, you see something happening around these very important issues. This interest takes many guises, but all of them are important to us one way or another, or possibly all in the same way. To some, it is nutrition and food security, the well-being and development of our children, as well as equity issues for women, youth and coastal communities in general. To others, it is the effect of climate change on habitat, biodiversity and livelihoods. Yet, to still others, it is not the effect of climate change per se, but how to mitigate climate effects and how to adapt to the changes that they herald that matters most. Others are more concerned with the income-generating potential and the opportunities that are engulfed in the oceans and have been manifested in successful fisheries, aquaculture, and tourism enterprises over the centuries. And some are not least concerned with how this success can be transferred into various new types of successful enterprises which are so diverse that I can't even begin to count them out loud. All have the same right to their aspirations, since they, in the end, all boil down to how we survive and fare on this blue planet we call Earth that is covered 70% with oceans and freshwater bodies. A large part of these aspirations, or at least those that relate to the living renewable resources of the ocean and freshwater environment, we try to capture in a sustainable way in the blue growth concept, which has translated into this blue growth movement we are all a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where still, in spite of progress, almost 1 billion people are hungry every day, and hundreds of millions of children suffer from various nutritional deficiencies. Strangely, we also have 1 billion people that are obese, and almost always these three conditions go hand in hand with poverty. Millions of people are under threat due to climate changes. Small island developing states, other coastal communities, and communities reliant on inland water bodies make up a very large part of this very large group of people. In their respective countries, in spite of their important contribution to national food and nutrition securities, the fishing communities often constitute the poorest of the poor. An ever-growing world population puts ever greater demands on the global fish stocks, which to a far too large extent are overexploited. Yet, 17% of global animal protein comes from fish, and the world would, according to our models, like to consume even more in the future than the almost 20 kilos per capita per annum it now consumes. And still, fisheries and aquaculture sustain the livelihoods of over 10% of the world population. Therefore, taking account of what I have said earlier about the present situation, the future threats the present and future needs, and the potential and aspirations of the world population, we have a duty to conserve, to develop, utilize, and benefit from the living renewable resources of the oceans in a sustainable way. Excellencies, dear friends, this conference is about how we do exactly those things that I just mentioned. We know already a lot about how to do them. We have developed and agreed upon a number of international instruments, tools, and guidelines. The issues that we cover and are interested in are very wide and far-reaching, as you can see from our coverage today. However, it primarily all boils down to the fish food system and how we develop and improve that system in the future. How, in fact, we get additional resources, additional to the conventional ones, to take this development further to where it needs to be to meet the demands that the growing population places on us is the question. This we will do through the broad issues we discussed today, and then onto the theory of change tomorrow morning, which is key in understanding what we need to do and what we can do. And then further on into considering the prime fish food systems, small-scale fisheries, and aquaculture, which on the one hand is where the large majority of people involved in the fishery sector are, and on the other hand, where the bulk of the future increase in supply has to come from. How these food systems can then be connected to the so-called innovative finance is then the crucial question for Friday morning. There is no crock of gold at the end of the rainbow, but we desperately need more unconventional resources to fund development in addition to what already is provided through conventional channels. This session could literally be a very valuable session for all of us. We then have one more task before the conference ends, and that is to set the agenda and the stage for the next 18 to 24 months. This cannot be done beforehand or for the participants in the conference. This has to be done here in Grenada. But remember, there have been plenty of cooperative structures set up in the past that have collapsed under their own load before delivering anything of value. Whatever we do to harness the energy in the blue growth movement must be action-driven by the members and must not be expected to be driven by the structures. Thus, it can be more inclusive and hopefully and realistically reflect our concerns and aspirations. This is a tall order, I know, but substance and success before structures should be possible with today's technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I must again reiterate how sorry I am not to be with you during these days. This is not because of lack of commitment on our behalf, but due to circumstances as explained earlier. FAO has not only played a fundamental role in launching the Blue Growth concept and initiative, but focuses strongly on the ground implementation of the concept. As of today, FAO has specific Blue Growth projects ongoing in 17 countries and pipeline activities in 13 countries, 3 regional initiatives supported by regional and sub-regional offices and initiatives. Today, you have some of my very best and most experienced staff with you, as well as the young sparks of FAO, both from headquarters and the sub-regional office. Led by Audun Lem, they will make up for my absence. I'm sure that they will demonstrate to you that we are eager and willing to support and back up blue growth work in any conceivable and reasonable way imaginable. Let me conclude by wishing you all the very best of luck in your work in this first Grenada Blue Growth meeting.